Hello everybody, welcome back to Castle Farms Homestead. We are back at the shed, of course, today, but at a very important part. It's the last part of this shed. We are going to get started on the roof today, the last and final step of getting this shed together. Going to start off with putting drip edge all around the edges, and then put on the tar paper, and then roof it. So we're getting started with this drip edge here. It's a basic drip edge that you get from Home Depot. There's fancier ones, but this is going to go around all the edges. This bottom spot here, that's where the water drips off of. So that'll just be nailed down around the edges. After that, we're going to lay down this 30-pound felt paper. Just nail that down with some nails that have little plastic caps on them to hold that in place. And then when that's done, then the roofing I've decided to go with is this onyx black asphalt shingle roofing. I went with this onyx black asphalt shingles because our house is going to be white and black, and I've decided that I want to keep this shed very similar to it. There's two buildings that on this property that I wanted to have look really nice. And that's our house, and that's the shed here. Those will be kind of the center pieces of the property. The other buildings are, we're using salvaged materials and everything else, although we're using a lot of salvaged materials on this too. But these I really wanted to look similar. Not exactly the same, but similar, and I wanted them to really look nice. And that's why we decided to paint it white, so it'd be the same as our house. And the roof on our house is black, and so that's why I went with these shingles. I had a bit of a dilemma because I was really trying to keep the cost of this way down, and I didn't want to pay for new shingles. And we have used metal here that we salvaged from another building. Early on, we salvaged, if you've been with us for a while, we salvaged a building in Kaysville, and it had a metal roof on it. And I totally planned on using that on this shed. But yesterday, when I went to pull that stuff out, I couldn't bring myself to do it because it's bent up and it's faded, and it's not that it has to be perfect, but it's brown, a faded brown. It's not even a good looking brown, and I really wanted this building to look nice. So I bit the bullet, and I finally decided I'm going to go ahead and buy new shingles to put on this building. So that's why we went with these asphalt shingles. That material, the metal from that one, we can definitely use in other places still. So it'll get used, just not on this building. So we're putting the asphalt shingles on. I think it'll look really look nice, and especially when we have our shed, and then when we get our house built here close to each other, they'll both be similar with the white and black. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the peak here, or on this peaked side here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down just so we go to the peak, right at the peak up there. I'm going to nail this down, and then for doing the other side, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do up top there in the peak to have full coverage to help prevent the rain from getting in there. So let's nail this off, and then I'll show you that. This drip edge here, we're going to put that up there on this next side, and this is where I'm going to have the peak go. And if you can see those lines I've drawn, what I've done is I've taking my square at my 6/12 pitch, put a line on there so I get that angle, and then this one's just at a 90-degree angle. And so the reasons for those is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tin snips and go ahead and just cut this out here. And then I can fold this, and that will be like the point. That'll be the point then of the building. And I'll get good full coverage so that water will drain off of it. So what I'm going to do at the peak up here, this is going to be where the peak of the building is I'm going to take, or I did take, my snips, and this angle here, I used my, just like I did with the rafters and all that, is I used my square here to get that 6/12 pitch angle there, so that this will be right down the center of, that'll be covering the fascia. So that's the same angle. I cut this other side here so that I can show you how this would bend then over the top, which gives me full coverage all over the top. And then I'm going to actually cut this piece off. I'm going to cut right down here, take this off, because otherwise it just gets too bunched up inside here with that other piece that's already up there. Actually, this is the way it'll look with the other piece that's up there, is because this will just go, that other piece will slide underneath, and that will be my corner up there. And this top portion that I have here will flap over, and I can nail that down and have good coverage on the top of the peak. So that's the plan. I wish I had done a better job cutting that angle right there, but I was having fits with my tin snips. You can see the corner of with the drip edge there hanging off the edge. Of course, we don't want that. But how do we finish this corner and have good coverage for water runoff and not have it be ugly and everything else? So I have seen people just cut them off at the corner. Just cut it at the corner there and butt up the side from the front. Get a little sun there, and just butt it up on this side. Then you have two open edges there. It looks ugly, and water can run in there really easily. So here's what I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this flush, both on the side here and along the top here. So I'm just going to mark this so that I get a good flush cut. Okay, I'm going to cut that with the tin snips, and then I'll show you what I'll do with the front. Now for the piece that's going to be on the front side, I'm going to go ahead and cut a little chunk out here. And then this piece is going to wrap around the corner. So I'm going to bend this so that this will wrap around the corner. So here you can see the corner, how I bent it around so that will slip up under the end over there, and this part will slip under the top portion. And I can't show you me doing that because I need two hands to do it, and it's windy and the piece of drip edge is long and it's just me. So I'll show you when it's done. Okay, I can't say that I love that edge either, but it's better than 2 open ends, so I'm going with it. So now the rest is pretty simple. Well, I do have that other peak down there to do with cuts and things, but the straight stuff, that's just putting it straight up. The only thing we need to do is make sure that at these ends that we get an overlap of about 3 inches or so of the drip edge. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that all up, get it up on both sides of both peaks, be done with the drip edge. Oh my gosh. I just step away to do a little watering, and I look over and see this ladder. Looks like it got blown over a little bit, and it looks like, oh man, looks like it got caught on the drip edge, which probably stopped it from falling all the way over, but I hope it didn't bugger up that drip edge too much. Dang it. I don't see any major kinks or anything, so that's good. Let's see what's going on. All right, I took the ladder down. It did bend that drip edge right there, but no major kinks. And it looks like I can see a little bit of a little kink, but I think I can straighten that out. Won't look too bad. Dang it. I swear, one thing or another. So I've got all the drip edge done now. Next step is to roll out the tar paper. It's going to be a little bit difficult here, but I'll see what I can do. That'll be the underlayment. That's actually the part that really keeps the water from going into the past the roof. It sheds the water off. So what I'm going to do, rather than tar papering the whole thing, because it gets windy out here a lot of times very unexpectedly, I'm going to go ahead and just basically do a row at a time. I'll tar paper and then I'll start shingling. And as I get up that a little ways, then I'll roll out another roll of tar paper and then keep on shingling up that. So I'm using these nails that have little plastic caps on the top. So that plastic cap helps to hold that tar paper down without allowing it to rip so easily if it were just a nail on there. Sometimes you'll see people just use staples, staple it down. I think the plastic caps work better. Hammer stapler is a lot faster, but I think these plastic caps work better. I'm lucky it's not a windy day today. That'd make this a lot tougher. So what I'm able to do right now is I want to make sure that this is straight and doesn't overlap the drip edge or anything like that. So right now I'm just tacking it down. Then we'll roll it out, I'll tack it down, then I'm going to go back and put multiple of those plastic cap nails in it to hold it down. So the next thing we have to do, now that we got a row of tar paper up there, is we're gonna start putting the shingles on. The first thing you need to do is put what's called a starter row on there. And they do make shingles for the purpose of a starter row. I'm just going to take an existing shingle like this, and what you want to do is you want to use just this top portion of the shingle, not the whole thing, just this top portion here. So I'm going to cut off, I'm going to take my knife and just cut this off, and then that portion here is going to go along the bottom edge of the roof. And then when we do start putting the shingles on, the full shingles will go right over the top of that. So that's what I'm doing next, cutting these shingles. I'm just gonna dull my knife, and I hate doing this. Unfortunately, that portion's wasted now. But here's my starter roll. I'm just gonna put that on the bottom. So we'll save those off to the side. And I gotta do a bunch of these. Okay, I've got my starter row up here. And what I did is I made sure to leave about a 1/2 inch overhang on the front as well as on the edges. And that then is going to be that first row before I put on the shingles, which I have already started here. And you can see what I've done here is I've staggered my shingles. So we want to make, when we're putting shingles on, we want to make sure of a couple things. One, we want to make sure that our seams do not line up with each other. You don't want a seam going all the way up next to each other. That would then be a gap for water to get in through. So there'll be a seam here, but underneath this part right here, there's not a seam, so that's covered. There'll be a seam up here with the next shingle. If I put the next layer on top of that and line that up again with that same seam, that's going to be an area where water can penetrate into it. So each of these seams will then be covered up by the next layer of shingles. Now again, I made sure that I put a 1/2 inch overage, so it's hanging out a 1/2 inch longer on the edge over there. And the reason I did the staggering here is so that then from one position, I can lay down multiple shingles and just work my way up. I don't have to keep changing position. If I just went in a line here, and if I just went down one line, I'd have to put up one shingle, move, put another shingle, move, put another shingle. But this way I can, from my position right here, or moved over just a little bit probably, I'll be able to put a shingle on, nail that down, put the next shingle on, nail that down, put the next shingle on, nail that down, and on up. So that'll save me a whole bunch of movement.
We knew it was bound to happen sometime, but the awning has fully ripped off of the fifth wheel, is now just hanging down in our front room area, outdoor lounging space.
Yeah, that was a pleasant sight to come home to the other day. Came home and this thing's just hanging down here. The awning material itself was just flapping out here, and check it out, and the supports are bent on the sides, and so yeah, we call that hashtag ranch life. The things that happen to everybody out here that you don't expect. So we're going to try to put it back up, secure it up there. Brady's gonna throw a rope over the top of the fifth wheel. Then we got our ladders out. We're gonna push it up and hopefully be able to secure that thing up. Okay, Brady's gonna huck the rope up over the fifth wheel. We got Bobby out here so she can stand on the other side and grab the rope. So you got to go over there and yell at us, tell us if it makes it or not, babe. So we're going to take bets on whether you think Brady will make it up over the fifth wheel or not.
I just need the wind to change direction.
I know, because I was just going to say, I'm going to say no because the wind's blowing. I think it's just going to get caught up there and get blown back. Here we go. Maybe. Oh, I think he made it. Did it make it? Woohoo! She said yes. All right, we have our little patio back now. Well, the roof is coming along pretty well. We're on the back side here now, the orchard side, and we've got, about 3 feet more up top. It's been going slow because we can only work on it early in the morning or late at night when the weather's cooler. As soon as it warms up at all, the shingles get too soft. They get messed up with our feet when we're up on the roof, and so we're kind of limited in the time. So it's been several days here that we work on it here and there and then do other things. But it is coming along really well, and I'm hoping to get close to done today. We'll see how it goes.